March 13th at 11:54 p.m. Pacific time, and the next day, March 14th, Universal Time, we will have a full moon total lunar eclipse in the highly sensitive earth sign of practical, let's get it done, Virgo. Because this eclipse is happening on the Pisces Virgo axis of the zodiac, it is the healing axis. So it is inviting us to release anything that is toxic in our lives, to rest, to restore, to rejuvenate. This is the first total lunar eclipse that we have had since 2022. It will be visible in all 50 states. If you are in the US, it will be visible in areas of South America, Western Europe, West Africa, and New Zealand. And I say this because if you are in the path of totality, my friend, you will likely feel this eclipse more intensely. So in this video, I am super excited to share with you the themes of this lunar eclipse, what you can expect. When did we last have a total lunar eclipse around this degree point in Virgo? Who will most feel this lunar eclipse? And the aspects, the conversations that are going on between other planets and the sun and the moon, as well as tips on how we can best use this energy so that we can experience this eclipse with the most ease and grace. In part 2, I will be doing readings for all 12 signs based on Western tropical astrology and the whole sign house system, letting you know in which house you will be experiencing this energy based on your rising sign. And I will also be pulling an oracle card for each of the 12 signs as well. Be sure and watch part 1 of this video because this is where I do the deeper dive, and this is where you will come away feeling empowered from the experience. So before I dive in, I want to say hello and welcome if you are new to the channel. If you have just found us, this is a like-minded community. If you want to find your tribe, be sure and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Welcome back to those of you who have been watching my videos. I am so grateful to you for your subscribes, for your support of the channel. I'm Betsy Gutting. I am a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. I am a full-time practicing astrologer, so if you are intrigued about working with me, stay tuned till the end of the videos. I will tell you more about my astrology consultations. And I have a free gift for you. I'll tell you all about the free gift at the end. And I write about the astrology between videos, so if you would like to receive my weekly inspirational astrology updates, go to my website, sign up for free, and you will get that free instant download gift right away. I also want to let you know that on this full moon lunar eclipse on March 13th, we will be gathering in Laguna Beach, California for a full moon lunar eclipse and spring equinox evening. And I would love to meet you there. So all of the information is in the description box below and on my website events page. Space is limited if you want to join us, so be sure and head over there if you are interested and get your ticket. All lunar eclipses are full moons magnified in their power. This is why we call them wild card energies. We often don't know what to expect. They can bring about a healing crisis. They can course correct us. They are meant to pick us up and put us down in the place that our soul wants us to be, based on the plan that our soul orchestrated before we landed here in these bodies, a plan for our evolutionary soul growth. So if we are off our path or even slightly off our path, maybe we've procrastinated on something, maybe we backburnered something that was very important, we can feel like it's catching up with us at eclipse time. And because our human selves are so good at adapting to circumstances, at staying in our comfort zones, eclipses are often a time that we get some sort of a wake-up call. An eclipse is when the moon is conjunct a lunar node. And in this case, the moon is conjunct the south node of fate or karma. So many of us will experience what may feel like a karmic moment of facing a situation, a person, a relationship dynamic, a pattern, a habit, something that we are meant to release, let go of, shed, if that is in our highest good. This is the first eclipse with the nodes of the moon on the Pisces Virgo axis. The north node moved into Pisces January 11th of 2025. So we're having our first eclipse conjunct the nodes of the moon in the same sign, and this means we're getting a pure, undiluted experience of this Pisces Virgo energy. The North Node in Pisces is an invitation to deepen our divine connection, to realize our psychic superpowers that much more, to remember and experience on a visceral level our ability to tune into our angels and our guides and receive that psychic support. Since Pisces rules the ethereal realms and the imagination, this is also an opportunity for us to realize our co-creative ability, our ability to bring our ethereal dreams into reality on this earthly plane. Now, opposite the sun in Pisces during this eclipse will be the moon in Virgo. Virgo is earth energy and it gives form to the ethereal Pisces oceanic vision. Virgo energy is how we embody our soul's essence and use our energy on a daily basis. So this includes our habits, our wellness on every level, physical, the body, emotional, mental, spiritual even. And it includes our daily work, our schedules, but also our environment, our coworkers, our boss and supervisors. And because it's Mercury ruled, it rules our thinking, our thoughts, those mental loops that we can have, those stories that can be less than empowering. Because the mind can be a bad neighborhood, right? The mind can also be attuned to the highest octave of love and possibility, and it can feel quite expansive if that's where our focus is. But whether our thoughts are high frequency or low frequency, so to speak, whether they are tuned into this divine possibility or to self-doubt, self-loathing for some people, in other words, negativity, that often fluctuates for human beings. And because this is a South Node eclipse, and South Node eclipses want us to release the shadow side of the energy that the eclipse is in, because it's a South Node eclipse, which is also about releasing, letting go, completions, culminations. Many of us are potentially going to be tapped on the shoulder by this eclipse energy, whispered to by spirit maybe, or get some sort of a wake-up call. Whatever it is that's brought to your attention during this eclipse, it really is a divine gift in strange wrapping paper, as my friend Aaron Wiseman calls it. Why? Because it's probably been going on underneath the surface for a long time. And we want to give ourselves lots of compassion for whatever happens during this eclipse, because we're always doing the best we can with the information we have and the resources we have and our ability to handle something in any moment, right? Now, like all of the signs, Virgo energy has a high octave, the light of it, and a lower octave. What is the light of Virgo? The light is a very sincere desire to serve others. Many people with strong Virgo in their chart are healers of some sort. And that doesn't mean that you have to be in a medical profession or that you have to be a spiritual coach. You may just use your energy in a way that other people feel uplifted around you, or that they come away feeling that something has shifted on a positive level for them. Some astrologers, including myself, feel that Virgo energy is co-ruled by Chiron, which is considered the wounded healer archetype. And what it means in short is that our greatest wound can become our greatest strength. And as we heal that core wound of abandonment, betrayal, or shame, we can then be a light or help others heal. So you might relate to that wherever you are on your path right now. Another superpower of Virgo is our ability to create order out of chaos. Virgo people make great coaches, and to just be able to help people with very practical tools. And in the highest octave of Virgo energy, we bring a desire, heartfelt, very heartfelt, to help someone improve their life in some way. The lower octave of Virgo energy is looking for things to fix, looking for problems. The word fix is a Virgo word. There's nothing wrong with that. Things break all the time that need fixing. But there can be a tendency on the darker side to look for the flaw and to have such high standards that they're actually unattainable, to be perfectionistic, which of course can lead to letdown on a regular basis. In Virgo energy, we can be so meticulous, we can be so detail-oriented that no matter how well we do something, we're like, okay, here's how I'm going to fix it the next time. No matter how well it comes out, it could always be better. And that can be exhausting. That can lead to burnout. too much energy going out and not enough energy coming back in. And finally, in Virgo energy, we can have a strong need to feel in control, be in that sort of fight or flight survival energy on a regular basis, which really can wreak havoc on the nervous system. And then that can show up as dis-ease in our physical bodies. And because Virgo is co-ruled by Mercury, that mental chatter, the way that we see life, the way that we experience things and frame them, our perceptions, and then the stories that we tell about our perceptions can have us spending too much time in fear-based or anxious energy. So what is this eclipse wanting us to do? How is it supporting us? There's something I feel that we are unwinding. I feel that a lot of us are unwinding a pattern, whether it's a habit or a way of thinking or a way of seeing our experience of life. Maybe beliefs that have formed as a result of experiences that we've had in the past. We are meant to unwind that and go back to beginner's mind. Go back to everything is possible. Go back to a clean slate. My past does not have to dictate my future, and I am here ready to create a new reality. Another way of saying it is to spend more time in this present moment where everything is possible. Collectively, I see all of us becoming more and more aware of our breath, using our breath to refresh, to clear out our systems, knowing that our breath can be our greatest healer and ally, and to begin to feed our minds with more stories and scripts of what could be rather than fearing the worst, the gloom and doom. And this took me back to the Mary Oliver quote from her famous poem, Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Those of you who are empaths, highly sensitive people, love workers, light workers, no doubt part of your purpose is to serve humanity in some way, to be of service, as we state it in Virgo terms. But ever since Neptune entered Pisces in 2011, a lot of us have become aware that we have done more servitude than service, that we have over-sacrificed, that we have forgotten to save some energy for ourselves. And so this full moon lunar eclipse wants us to rectify that. Lunar eclipses are often times of reckoning, rectification, setting a limit, setting a boundary, saying no more. And I see this, especially because Virgo is a detox energy. The word purification is a Virgo word. This is a fantastic time to prioritize your own health and well-being. But not only that, to create a habit of radical self-care. And because the South Node in Virgo is often fear-based and is looking for what needs fixing and is in that energy of worry and anxiety or angst, I want to give you a mantra that you can use, not just during this eclipse time, but going forward in your life. Nothing is wrong. Your Virgo mind can be chattering away. I can't believe this is happening and I need to fix this and that's so wrong and they didn't meet my expectations and life is just giving me lemons and I just feel so lost and so on and so forth. So we can observe that inner dialogue and then respond, nothing is wrong. Instead of approaching our problems from a point of view as I need to fix that, what if we approach them from the point of view, I am choosing to love that? This is what self-compassion is. Compassion, come pass on, letting it go. So who will most feel this full moon lunar eclipse? It's happening at 23 degrees, 56 minutes, so almost 24 degrees. It is very close to the South Node and very close to opposing the North Node, just 3 degrees apart. This means we're going to feel it that much more powerfully. And if you have planets or points between 18 and 28 degrees of Virgo or Pisces, or the other mutable signs of Gemini or Sagittarius, you will feel this eclipse most personally, most intensely. However, keep in mind that we all have Virgo and Pisces energy somewhere in our chart, so we're all going to feel this to a certain degree. And to get a full sense of how this eclipse is affecting your chart, we would want to look at how is it aspecting the various planets and points in your chart. And that's something that I do for people in astrology consultations. Now let's look at the aspects to this full moon because the aspects tell us so much more. But first we need to zoom out for a moment and realize that this eclipse is happening within the context of a major planetary change going on in 2025. Both Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces. Both Saturn and Neptune are making aspects to this eclipse. They are opposing it, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But because Neptune is at 29 degrees, the very last degree of Pisces, and will be entering Aries just 2 weeks after this eclipse on the 30th of March, we are in a period of completion. We are in a period of culmination. We are also in a period of transition. Why? Because both Saturn and Neptune will enter Aries in 2025, but also both Saturn and Neptune, after they've been in Aries for a period of months, will retrograde back into Pisces and not be fully in Aries until 2025. So we're in a year of transition, and this is important because we want to be extra gentle with ourselves going through the processes of these eclipses that we're going to be having both in March, and then we're having 2 more eclipses in September on the same axis. If we can keep in mind that we're transitioning through this time, in other words, we have one foot in both worlds. We have one foot in 2 different timelines, many of us. We are in the process of releasing and letting go of a self, a life chapter, a dream or a vision, perhaps, a perception of life, perhaps. We're in the process of letting something go while we are beginning to dream a new dream at the same time. And I have a separate video for you on Saturn and Neptune entering Aries, and I will link to that above here and in the description box below. And so I want to say, my friend, if you are feeling like you are between 2 worlds, if you are feeling like you don't quite have a sense of what you're going to or how you're going to make that new dream happen, if it feels out of reach, if you feel like there is a part of you that's in this very dreamy, ethereal, or even a confused state, that would be very natural right now. You're right on time. Okay, so with that context set, I want to tell you that the moon in Virgo during this eclipse will be opposite the zodiac wheel from Saturn in Pisces. Moon opposite Saturn. When we have an opposition, which is always a full moon situation, but this time we're going to also have not just the moon opposite the sun, but also the moon opposite Saturn. And when we have an opposition, it often shows up in our relationships or our interactions, our relationship dynamics. Moon opposite Saturn can feel like, where did everybody go? Or it can feel like someone went cold on you, or you can feel like you're having to fend for yourself. Saturn does make us more self-reliant, but when it's happening, we often do need support. And keep in mind that Saturn's also the wise teacher. It's the elder. It is the advisor. You might especially benefit from getting support from a professional or whomever you consider wise in your life. Saturn is the lord of timing and karma. This eclipse has so much karma written all over it, especially because Pisces energy, where Saturn is, where Neptune is, where the sun is during this eclipse, that is associated with the 12th house of the zodiac and karmic events and relationships. Plus, it's a South Node eclipse, more karma. So the moon opposing Saturn tells us that what is meant to happen is timed perfectly. We are in perfect divine timing, whatever happens, my friend, during this eclipse. And it's an invitation then to not resist the flow, to go with the flow. The saying, you may have heard this, it's best to ride the horse in the direction that it's going. Saturn in Pisces, that is a flow of water. Have you ever tried to hold on to water? Impossible, right? But at its highest octave, Saturn helps us to create a solid, sustainable foundation. Saturn also represents work, discernment, responsibility, accountability, commitments, agreements, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. You may be renegotiating or negotiating agreements and boundaries. You may become aware that there is a crack in your foundation, Saturn. It could be your physical health foundation. It could be your mental health. It could be the foundation at work or the foundation in a relationship. Whatever it is, Saturn wants to help us to create a new routine or a new habit or a new way of seeing or a new way of thinking that is going to support a more stable, long-term, healthy foundation. And just as a quick example, you may have been prioritizing work over your health. That's very common in our culture. And we often don't see it until, as my yoga teacher says, your body starts screaming at you. And this is when we learn that our health is the foundation of everything. But also, Saturn represents the father. So some of you could be healing a father wound. You could be recognizing a pattern of self-deprivation. We can do that in Virgo energy too. And I want to say that it takes tremendous courage to choose to alter your life routine or pattern to prioritize you and your well-being. That takes tremendous commitment to your soul and to yourself, because in Pisces and Virgo energy, we often source our security by feeling needed, by feeling like we are serving others, by feeling like we are taking care of our responsibilities. That makes us feel more secure. And I know from working with clients that many of us have sacrificed self-care out of a sincere pattern of being dutiful. The eclipses on the Pisces Virgo axis, they are waking us up around that. How are you responding to the duty of your own soul, to the calling of your own soul? How are you being devotional to your soul's evolutionary path? Now, while in opposition to the moon can definitely be challenging during an eclipse, I do want to say that we're also getting a really nice sextile from Saturn to Uranus and Taurus. And Uranus and Taurus is freeing and liberating, and it's saying there's another approach. There's another way that we can deal with whatever is coming up for you. So think outside the box. Think in terms of innovating. Think in terms of trying out, staying open and trying out new ideas that will very likely come to you around this time. That sextile will not be exact until early April, but it's within orb during this eclipse. So we are building toward this solution that we get from a sextile. And that means we're receiving the divine downloads from the divine. Not only this, Mercury, which is the co-ruler of this eclipse, is going to station retrograde the day after. You can't make this stuff up. The day after this eclipse's exact, Mercury will station retrograde, saying, okay, now go think about it. Now go reflect on it. Now let's look back at the way we have been co-creating our reality, the way that we've maybe been too wound up, some of us, too much in fight or flight, and how we're being called now to master the use of our energy. And most of this is probably completely unconscious or subconscious for most of us, until we start unpacking what's actually going on here. And that's what the Mercury retrograde will be for. Plus we have Venus retrograde at the same time. And during this eclipse, Mercury is conjunct Venus retrograde. They're talking to each other. Venus is talking about what she wants most, your inner Venus, your values. She's talking with Mercury about what has to change. And finally, the moon is also opposing Neptune. And I spoke about Neptune a few moments ago, how it's at the last degree, the 29th degree, how it's a culminating energy. We are releasing and letting go of patterns that many of us have had for lifetimes. We're talking past life stuff with Neptune. Neptune entered Pisces in 2011. For many of us, this whole last, what would that be, 14 years? This whole last decade and a half, for many of us, we have been, quote unquote, cleansing ourselves of past life karma, which often got played out in our childhoods. Now we're getting ready to start fresh again. We're getting ready to go, okay, it's all washing away. The waves are coming in and taking it away. We are preparing for this new era of Neptune in Aries, a fresh start. Aries, the rebirth, the spring, the new beginning. So that is quite exciting. But it's important to keep in mind that if it feels like a part of you is in grief, or a part of you is looking back and so focused on the past and may feel very nostalgic during this time, or a part of you may just really want to check out, completely escape, and just not be present for whatever is going on in your life. If this is true, remember that this last degree of Neptune and Pisces, this whole year in which we will be transitioning in and out of Neptune and Aries, Neptune and Pisces, back to Neptune and Pisces, well, you get the idea. We're going to be going back and forth between these energies. It is meant for us to go slow. It is meant for us to give ourselves the utmost compassion, self-love, understanding for whatever we might be going through, so that we can begin to embody self-compassion way of being. That's the new earth. That's the new human. Forgiving ourselves, compassionate with ourselves and with others, letting the past go. Now, very briefly, the last time that we had eclipses on the Pisces Virgo axis was the spring of 2006 to February of 2008. And if you want to look back to the eclipse that was closest to the degree point that this eclipse is, go back to March 2006 when we had a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo at this same degree point. It was 24 degrees. Only look at the themes that were going on in your life, because there were other transits happening then than the transits that are happening now. And just because you had something difficult happen for some of you does not mean that's going to repeat itself. But you might want to go back to that time of March 2006, because it was very close to the same degree point of this eclipse. It means that it was happening at the same place in your natal astrology chart. And remember, this time around, we are bringing our higher consciousness to the energy. Also, if you have your natal North Node in Pisces or Virgo, you are having a nodal return or a reverse nodal return. If you have your South Node in Pisces, North Node in Virgo, that would be a reverse nodal return. And I have a separate video for you on the lunar nodes in Pisces and Virgo, where I go into what you can expect from a nodal or reverse nodal return. But if your natal nodes are on this eclipse axis of Pisces and Virgo, you will also likely feel the energy quite intensely and personally. And I also want to say you could have a wonderful windfall occur around this eclipse time, a wonderful manifestation. Somebody very close to me texted me as I was preparing this video synchronistically to tell me that, and she's a Virgo, she was doing her taxes and she realized that she had made an error earlier. She had not claimed a tax credit, and now she's going to get this wonderful windfall as a result of going back and amending her back taxes. And this is something that could easily happen, especially when we have Mercury retrograding the day after and Venus in retrograde during this eclipse. So there could be some sort of do-over for you that is quite beneficial. Be open and ready for that as well. Okay, my friend, let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. This is the area of your natal chart corresponding to the area of your life in which you will be experiencing this eclipse based on the whole sign house system. Watch your moon sign and sun signs as well for further intuitive messages. And we're going to start with Virgo, because beautiful Virgo, this is your full moon lunar eclipse. Hello, beautiful Virgo. And beautiful Virgo, it is happening in your first house, the first house of you, which is your identity, how you describe yourself, the roles that you play, the titles you have. So this is both professional and personal, the roles in family, the roles with your friends, and also in your professional life, if you have a professional life, and I know not all of us do. This is also your appearance, your look, and your vitality. So a full moon lunar eclipse in your first house, you may definitely see some changes in relationships. You may realize that you are done with a certain behavior pattern, you are done with a certain habit, you are done with relating in certain ways with other people. That could very much be part of this for you, especially because this is happening on your first and seventh house axis, and the seventh house is our committed partnerships, whether they are business or marriage, significant others, that kind of thing. Virgo, this full moon eclipse is bringing you the end of a chapter, a culmination of something, a graduation moment, or a manifestation. And we tend to feel eclipses that are conjunct are a planet or point in our sign. We tend to feel those most intensely, especially if the eclipse is 1 to 2 degrees away from a planet or point in your chart. And when I say points, I'm specifically looking at your ascendant, your rising sign, your descendant, which is across the way in your 7th house of partnerships, your midheaven at the top of your chart called the MC or your IC, which is at the bottom of your chart. That is the 4th house cusp. We also call it the nadir. And I know that not all of you can read a chart. I understand that, but you can go and check out what I just described. You can download a chart for yourself from astro.com and look for the symbols on the chart, because this is how we begin to learn, right? This is how we begin to learn astrology. So now I am going to pull a card for you, and we're going to see what the cards have to say. Just know that when you have an eclipse in your 1st house, it can affect any area of our life. It can affect all of the areas that I just mentioned: career, work. It can affect your health. It can affect any area of your life. It's an important turning point for anyone who has planets or points near this 23, 24 degree point of this eclipse. You are saying goodbye to something, most likely, or you are saying that I've made it. To a certain degree, you may feel like you've made it, right, Virgo? Right before I did this video, recorded it, I made a quick run to the grocery store to get these flowers for the video. I love having flowers for my videos. And of course, the checkout person is a Virgo, right? She's like, "So what are you doing today?" And I told her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a Virgo." So that was really fun. And but what she told me was, she said, "So tell me about it. Tell me about the eclipse." And I gave her the nutshell, and she said, "I don't feel like I'm ending anything." She goes, "But I definitely feel like I'm starting a new chapter. So it doesn't have to be an ending. Maybe the ending already happened for you, and now you're stepping into what feels like a new beginning." So it could be a new beginning in career. It could be a promotion. It could be you starting your own business. It could be that you are moving. It could be that you are making a shift in a relationship, or a relationship could be ending or starting. Any of these things. Okay, so Virgo, let's see. And maybe you're ready to take on a new sense of I am this, I am that, I'm becoming a new, what are you, fill in the blank. It's different for all of you. Virgo. And you have a choice in front of you. Not surprising. Eclipses are often choice points. You know, with Mercury turning retrograde the day after, I can already feel, I felt this on my last video too, just the words, that happens sometimes. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay, so this is what, and this, I'm so not surprised by the message of this card. Remember, as I speak about in part 1 of this video and go into it great length, this eclipse, the moon in Virgo, is opposing Saturn. Saturn represents our commitments, and this card says reconsider a commitment. You have the right to change your mind. Mercury is turning retrograde the day after. We often have changes of mind during that. Venus is retrograde. We are workshopping something. We are in the process of something. It's okay to change your mind. That is your message. And I love that she is holding these flowers, which to me looks like the globe. Very earthy energy, just like you, Virgo, her angel wings. She looks like she's ready to embark on her own flowering, her own blooming. And that's a 1st house lunation, where you are coming out more as yourself. You are blooming something within you. A new soul essence is coming into fruition for you. Beautiful Virgo. If anything I shared resonates, leave me a comment. I would love to hear. Leo, hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in your 2nd house of earned income, your values, your material security. This is also the house of self-worth, self-love, and where we feel or don't feel a sense of deserving what our heart most wants, that next new vision that we are wanting to bring into reality. So with an eclipse here in your 2nd house, you could be letting go of a specific income if you want to make more money and you're getting a new job, for example, or you're starting another side gig or a side gig so that you can make more money. You could be doing some deep inner work during this eclipse around the sense of deserving, receiving. You could be making changes that will make you feel more materially secure. This eclipse is happening on the 2nd and 8th house axis, and the 8th house is the house of intimacy, emotional and physical intimacy. It's also the house of debts and taxes. It's a financial house. It's shared resources. So it's the house of power and control, and we call it this because we often get triggered. Our own sense of empowerment gets triggered when it comes to these very, very primal attachments that we have around money, around our sexuality, around our emotionally intimate bonds, right? So because it's happening on this axis, a lot of you are probably thinking about your money. You're thinking about investments. Some of you, maybe something like a retirement fund. You're thinking about um, what you want to build going forward, especially because this eclipse is opposing Saturn, and Saturn is a building energy. And you could feel that someone is challenging you in some way because the eighth house is a partnership house. You could feel like you're getting challenged by somebody else. With Saturn going through your eighth house, it could feel like money is tight. It could feel like you are being restricted by someone. You could be splitting up assets during this time. But remember, big picture, Leo, what is this eclipse about? It's about shedding a skin. It's about closing out a chapter. It's us saying goodbye to the era of Neptune and Pisces so that we can step into the era of Neptune and Aries, this brand new beginning, a new identity, a new self being born, a rebirth. So Leo, let me now pull a card for you. And Leo, when we have the next, after this eclipse, 2 weeks later, we're going to have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. It's going to trine your energy. Of course, I'll do a separate video on that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but part of what you could be shedding, releasing, letting go of during this eclipse, it's preparing you for a new open door during the Aries solar eclipse. Leo, let's see what the cards have to say for you. Gratitude. Say thank you. Experience the joy of acknowledging others. I think that this eclipse, and not just this one, but the many eclipses we're going to have on this Pisces Virgo axis, are really wanting us to have a daily spiritual practice. Gratitude is one of those. It's one that you might relate to. It's one that you may want to do. But Leo, you're all about joy. You're all about joy. You are one of the best at creating joy for yourself. After all, your sign is connected to the fifth house, and the fifth house is the house of joy. And this says, experience the joy of acknowledging others. So for some of you, there may be and look at the light right in her face. When I see the light in her face, I'm getting a sense of you having gratitude for yourself. You even giving your soul gratitude for bringing you here. I know it's a messy place to be. It's a messy place to live, this earthly experience. It really is. So I don't want to downplay any pain that any of you could potentially be going through right now. But I do want to say that what's coming to me is doing a practice, a mirror practice, where you look in the mirror and you look straight into your eyes. You see your soul, you feel your soul through your eyes, and you say, I love you on a regular basis. Or maybe it's a gratitude practice, but there's something about counting your blessings that could enrich this next period of while we have the Pisces Virgo eclipses here. So if you relate to anything that I shared, beautiful Leo, and you want to leave me a comment, I would love to hear. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer. You and I both, if you're Cancer rising, because I have Cancer rising and Cancer moon, Cancer risings will experience this full moon lunar eclipse in their third house. Third house. So what is the third house? What's an eclipse in the third house? It is the house of our mindset. This is huge for this eclipse because Mercury rules Virgo energy. Mercury is our thoughts and our mental loops and our stories that we tell about ourselves, often unconscious or subconscious. And this eclipse wants us to become aware of our mindset of, is it the fertile garden for the reality that we want to create? Does our inner narrative need a remodel? Does it need a makeover? After all, Mercury is shifting into retrograde motion the day after this eclipse, giving us a chance to really reflect and really see something that we didn't see before, something that we need to see to really build a new reality for ourselves, a new foundation. This is a foundational eclipse because it opposes Saturn, and Saturn wants us to create or shore up a foundation. And in the third house, it could be a foundation for a business because because freelance work fits here. It could be thoughts around relationships with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, landlords, anyone that you experience in your local environment, or extended family for that matter. It could be something having to do with electronics. I mean, it could be that simple, like cars and devices, and perhaps you're building a website or you're working on a blog, something with technology. Technology falls here. Mercury retrograde is an invitation to reset, to review, to repair. And this is happening on your third and ninth house axis, which is ninth house is expansion. So this is beautiful. It's like, do you feel a call to expand, Cancer? I know I feel that. I feel it. I think that all of us, but especially here in this with this ninth house connection to the third house, I feel that Cancers really are being shown a different way of thinking, so that we can feel more free, yes, but also just more alive, because it's also the house of new adventures and new horizons and higher learning, and where we can free ourselves from spiritual beliefs or just belief systems, a belief in and of itself that is in some way harmful to the joy of life, that is in some way, for some of us, harmful to our physical health, because this is the healing axis, or it could be your emotional or your mental or your spiritual health. Big picture, Cancer, the message that I'm getting for you is to be more present in the now, to stop and breathe, to take care of your body, because this is the daily life house. This is the things that you do, the routines that you have. And now I know that's sixth house in a way, but the third house is like, what do you do in your day? Like where, like I go to a certain cafe while I'm here in Laguna Beach. I have a specific cafe that I like to go and work. Obviously not with clients, but when I'm not working with clients, when I'm writing my newsletter, when I'm making video content, all of that stuff, editing my videos, I can do all that at a cafe. And my Gemini self loves that. But like that's part of my local environment. And I could have karmic or fated moments with people while I'm there. And you could have a karmic or fated moment with people wherever you go, wherever you hang out, wherever you find yourself, even if it's a quick conversation with, the checkout person when you're buying groceries. So keep that in mind, because we're in this eclipse energy now, and this is a very, very, as a South Node eclipse, a very, very fated karmic access to experience something like that. And it could be a wonderful meeting with somebody that is just very, very sweet. I know staying here in Laguna Beach, I'm having and of course I lived here before. Well, of course, and a lot of you don't know that. I lived here, I grew up in this area. I lived here for 7 years, up until the time recently I moved to Mexico. And I know I've probably been here for eons, like past lives and all of that. So, people that we just run into that we don't even think we know, we could have known them in a past life. And there's some sort of past life karma clearing that's going on. Let's just say that. Karma doesn't have to be quote unquote bad. That's what we think, like, oh my God, I did something wrong. I'm being punished. I have to like get my punishment. That is not true. I do not see karma that way at all. I see karma as what goes around comes around. It can be the love that we share and have shared with someone in a past life. It could be where we had a misunderstanding with someone and somehow that gets worked through. It could be where just something wasn't made right, and it gets made right now as we come into this interaction with somebody with a whole different mindset, a whole different octave of evolution, soul's evolution. You get the idea. And Cancer, you are getting a sextile from this Virgo full moon. The sun in Pisces will trine your energy. The moon will sextile your energy. And this is a solution, whatever you may be working through, working out, whatever you are doing. You are likely to experience a new opportunity or a solution. Sextiles are harmonious and they bring us gifts and blessings. Okay, I'm going to pull a card for you now, Cancer. Your card is friendship. Call a friend. When you are mirrored with love, you see yourself clearly. You may be this person for someone else during this eclipse time. You may need this support during this eclipse time. But this is bringing up for me what I spoke about in the first part of the video was the need and the elevation of compassion. I feel that we're all being elevated, invited to elevate the amount of compassion we give ourselves and we give others, and that can be supremely healing. So if anything I shared, beautiful Cancer, resonates, let me know. I would love to hear. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in your 4th house of home, family, childhood conditioning, your roots, your sense of security in this world. This is also the house of belonging and where we want to create a sanctuary that we can live in, where we can feel like we can be completely at home. This house represents our inner home and our outer home. Also ancestral healing. It is the grandmothers, and it's where some of you could experience some sort of healing process or some sort of connection to the divine that is related to the mother line, especially because the 4th house is associated with the mother, also what we call the mother wound. So, Gemini, some of you during this eclipse could very simply be moving or making a plan to move. You could very simply be creating a vision around the home that you want to experience, your inner home, your outer home, or both. You could be really wanting to root yourself somewhere, wanting to create more stability in your life, wanting to feel like you are mothering yourself. You are feeling mothered by Mother Earth, by the ancestors, by the grandmothers. You could have a really deep experience during this eclipse of a divine download that makes you feel more like, yes, I am being guided by, you fill in the blank, your spiritual, helpers or people on the other side that are close to you, were close to you in your lifetime, or maybe family members or ancestors is what I'm trying to say, that you never met in this lifetime. That's possible too. This eclipse makes a square to your energy, meaning that you do have to take some action because you feel it strongly. Squares motivate us. They bring in enough tension that we do have to take some action, but that action then creates a resolution. So that is really lovely. And you're having this experience of this eclipse on your 4th and 10th house axis. So you could feel this in your career life. Not everyone will feel it in their home life. Some people will feel it more in career. You could be shifting your career in some way. You could be starting a business. You could be changing. You could be leaving a job. You could be retiring. You could be semi-retiring. You could be saying, I only want to do work that is meaningful and passionate to me, and I need to find my quote unquote life purpose. A lot of times when I coach people or when we do astrology consultations, they use the term life purpose to really mean career. So you could feel that way, or, when we're truly searching for what is my purpose, what I feel we're truly searching for is more of our own soul essence. We want to get in touch with the soul that brought us here put us in these physical bodies, so to speak. That's what we're really trying to get in touch with. But it doesn't matter, asking the question is enough in and of itself, right? And if you don't have if you're in that process, then get my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, if it at all calls to you, because that is where I really help you through that process. And I share my many life transitions and stories about going through that process myself. So you're motivated. You're either motivated in home matters or career matters. And this is likely about creating some sort of shift, but it could be about a new reality around career or around home that you want to manifest as well. So, gems, let me shuffle for you now. Beautiful Gemini. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Gemini, you're being called to rest. That's this eclipse in so many ways. Rest, rejuvenate, rest and relax. Release guilt and make your needs a top priority. Gemini, if you haven't watched the first half of this video, that is what I'm really express. It's not easy in our culture to give ourselves that. Often fears come up. What about making money? What about all the things I have to do? What about the people that I've made, that I have commitments to? It is so hard for us. Most of us don't want to disappoint others. Most of us don't want to change the way we do our life. But this eclipse is saying, if you are at all sleep deprived, if you are at all just don't have the full energy that you want to have, if you're going through any sort of a health crisis or anything has been toxic in your life, this eclipse is saying this is the time for us to rest, restore our energy. And that's part of self-mastery. That's part of soul mastery. That's part of what this eclipse, according to this card, is inviting you to do. Beautiful Gemini. If that resonates and you want to share, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear. Taurus, hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, you are going to experience the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is trining your energy, and trines are the wind at your back. They're ease and flow. They're quite harmonious to our energy. So that's beautiful news for you. You're going to experience it in your 5th house of love and romance, creative expression, children. This is really where I call this the house of inner child delight. It's your inner muse. It's really where you are being invited to say yes to writing your book or put something out into the world, write your song, do your one-person show. Taurus, a lot of you are singers because Taurians are known for their beautiful voices. So maybe it has to do with singing for you. Maybe it has to do with parenting for you. Maybe it has to do with the fact that you are in a love and romance and you want to focus on that, more time on that, or that you are releasing a romance. That's very possible for some of you as well, because this is a full moon lunar eclipse and they tend to be where we release and let go of something. Or you could be manifesting that. You could be experiencing that. You could be working through something with a lover as well. That's possible. This eclipse is happening on your 5th and 11th house axis, and the 11th house is the house of our dream. Our fulfillment is the house of the world in the tarot. It is how the world is your oyster. And it's also the house of long-term gains, financial gains, your tribe, your community, your allies, your social media platforms, everything that wants to support you. It's really the house of support. So what this means, Taurus, is that on this axis, you are being invited to make sure your foundation of support is well cultivated, is tended to, that you have what you need. Because of this energy with Saturn, the opposition to Saturn, we're really looking at, or being called on to look at, are our foundations, and for you it would be your foundations around causes or community or tribe or platforms. If there's anything that you have an audience for, that would be included as well. And for some of you, it's marketing or branding or promoting what you do. Is there a solid foundation underneath that? If not, you're being asked to strengthen that foundation during this eclipse, and or set clear boundaries. Saturn, clear boundaries, being discerning. So Taurus, let us see what the cards have to say for you. And some of you could want to get pregnant or find out you're pregnant around this eclipse time too, with the 5th house eclipse. And some of you could have something come up with a child as well. And oh my gosh, I just talked about 11th house and support, getting support, and look at your card, support. You can't make this up. Offer your support to someone, experience the joy of serving others. Well, service is a Virgo word. However, this goes both ways. Either you are, and here's the children, the 5th house, that's so cool. Either you are being called on to support someone else, you're being acknowledged for the fact that you have a lot to give to others and be of support if you haven't done that yet, or if you don't feel like you're worthy of that, you're not certified, or you're not all those things that we tell ourselves, right? I have to get the certification first, or I have to do this, or I'm not as adept at this as this person, therefore I'm not qualified. If any of that's coming up for you, this card is clearly saying no, you are gifted and talented and ready to offer your support, and or this is a time to receive and get that support yourself. And at the very least, not that it's a least, but like, calling on your angels, calling on your guides. Maybe some of you are working with children or your parents, and this is a validation of your parenting. That's possible too. Beautiful Taurus. If anything I shared resonates, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Aries. Hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 6th house. And of course, the 6th house is the Virgo house. It's the house of daily habits, health routines, sleep hygiene, work, and your work environment and your pets. So for you, you could have something come up for you around any of these things that is meant to be released if it's not in your highest good. Some of you may have to release a toxic work environment. Some of you may have to really look at your diet or your exercise or your habits and see, really review and reflect and be fiercely honest with yourself about whether they are supportive of you. You are experiencing this eclipse on the 6th and 12th house axis, which means that the sun will be in the 12th house, the moon will be in the 6th house, and the sun in the 12th house is about our awakening process. It's about spiritual practice for some of you, a call to make sure that you have a daily spiritual practice. A lot of us are not very consistent about that, right? But with Saturn also conjunct the sun in the 12th house, we're being called on to be more consistent, having to do with, for you, it would be your spirituality. It could be that you need more rest. It could be that you are working on your divine connection. It could be that you are connecting with your mystical self, or that you are starting a practice of automatic writing or something where you are going to be more in connection to receive divine downloads and any messages from your intuition. Let's pull a card for you now, beautiful Aries. You get relaxation. Allow yourself to be lazy. It is okay to do nothing. Aries, this is not easy for a lot of Aries to do, to let themselves be lazy, to do nothing. This is not easy. You are a doer. You are a self-starter. You go for things. You go after things. And Aries, 2 weeks after this eclipse, we have a solar eclipse, a brand new beginnings, new vision, new just say yes eclipse in your sign. So this eclipse is preparing you. It's preparing you. It's saying, relax, take some time off, just do nothing for a little while, because once Saturn moves in, well, first Neptune, once Neptune moves into your sign, that will be the end of March. Then Saturn will be the end of May. And once both are in Aries, until the fall, when there will be a shift, but when they go back into Pisces. But with both of those energies in your sign, which they will be very shortly, especially Neptune in 2 weeks, you may feel quite energized and like, okay, now I have to get going. So this is saying, give yourself some preparation time to just do nothing. Beautiful Aries, if you resonate with what I shared, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Pisces, hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you are going to be one of the ones that will feel this eclipse quite intensely. Why do I say this? Because it is happening on your axis, on the Pisces Virgo axis, and you're going to experience it in your 7th house of partnerships. This is romance in terms of committed partnerships. So this can be romantic, this can be business, this can be close friends can fall here even. Basically, it's people who have your back and you have their back. And it's an opposition. And when we have an opposition, which is all full moons, and especially, very intense eclipses, we experience them, oppositions more intensely. We feel them in our relationships is what I want to say. So it's happening on your first and seventh house axis. The moon will be in your seventh. The sun will be in your first. Saturn is also in your first. Neptune is also transiting your first. What does that mean? It means that Saturn has been working on you in your first house of you to solidify boundaries, to do the things that you need to do, the work, but also like it can be inner work, outer work, but like the work on you, self-discovery for some of you, changing your habits, some of you, working on a relationship dynamic, some of you. It's different for all of you, but the big picture message from Saturn here is to have really healthy boundaries and to give yourself what you need, beautiful Pisces. You're going to experience an ending, a culmination, a graduation moment, something coming full circle, or a manifestation around this eclipse time. So watch part 1 of this video if you haven't already, because that's where I do the deeper dive and I share a lot of other juicy information that I don't share in these quicker readings. So let us see what the cards have to say for you, Pisces. And I know that you've all been through it, especially with Neptune here at 29 degrees. If you have any planets or points at the high degrees, like 26 to 29 degrees of your sign, then you're probably quite intensely feeling this Neptune transit. And Neptune at 29 degrees can really make us feel like we are in between worlds. So if you feel that way, if you feel like something's leaving, I can kind of feel it. It can make us feel more anxious. It can make us definitely feel more tired. If you don't yet know what's coming, if you feel like you're like, if it just feels too foggy, that's would be very natural for this time. Okay. Pisces. Your card is intent. Focus your energy. There is amazing power in a strong intention. I love this card so much because what I love about it is that it's saying it's okay if you don't have a clear vision. It's okay if you don't know where you're going. It is okay if you feel like you're between worlds. All you need is an intention of how you want to feel. Fill in the blank. When I say the words I am, fill in the blank with an emotion or a quality of how you want to experience your life this year. That is a strong intention, and that will begin to attract to you experiences that line up with the vibration of the intention that you are embodying, beautiful Pisces. So if anything I shared resonates, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Aquarius, Aquarius. Beautiful Aquarius, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 8th house of shared resources, assets, loans, taxes. This is the house of investments. This is the house of deep emotional or sexual intimacy with another person, but also the house of our shared finances. And this is why we call it the house of power and control, because we get very dependent and attached on a human level to having certain things in our lives that make us feel more secure. And so some of that insecurity potentially could be coming up for you around this time. Why? Because we are between chapters in our lives, a lot of us. We are between worlds energetically. And so you could feel like, I don't know what's coming or going. I feel uncertain. I feel unstable. And now, this is just the day before, 2 days before this video goes live is when I'm recording it, and the stock market is like plunging right now. Plunging, and I'm not like laughing, ha ha ha, isn't that funny? Like, I have investments in the stock market too, so I'm not thrilled about it, but that's what the stock market can do. We all know that. And we also can begin to work on at least sourcing our security more from within. So anyway, I only mention that because that's an 8th house thing, the stock market, our investments. You're experiencing this eclipse. So what I want to say is that you could notice that something is changing or leaving or manifesting in having to do with your money or having to do with a relationship. But you're experiencing this on the 2nd and 8th house axis. So the 2nd house is your earned income, your values, taking your power back around your finances. and also self-love and deserving. And so this, the second house, is where the Pisces energy is for you, and that's where Saturn is. And Saturn's been working on you, maybe reducing your income possibly, but also working on you to get very clear on what your values are so that you can align your life and make choices that will support those values. So Aquarius, I'm going to pull a card for you now. I'm going to pull a card and we're going to see, because this is really the house too, the 8th house of death and rebirth and transformation. You may find this time very transformational. Pluto is here, of course, and I know a lot of you are going through Pluto transits right now, and if you are, those are transformational, even if they give you a lot of empowerment and you are feeling just very much, you know, you're getting a conjunction to your Aquarius energy from Pluto. So that can play out in different ways. That can be like Pluto coming in as the wrecking ball and feeling like you're losing things in your life. And it can feel like Pluto's coming in and empowering you. It can go either way. Let's see what the cards have to say for this eclipse for you, Aquarius. This is such a beautiful card. You got dreams. And this is asking you to expand your mind in terms of what you can have, what you can experience, what you can dream. It says, think big. There are unseen forces ready to support your dreams. A reminder that the ethereal realms, Pisces energy, are supporting you. They are tethered to you. Your soul is guiding you. You are so held, Aquarius. You are so mystically supported. And notice that this cloak that this child is wearing or person is wearing is red, which is the root chakra. So some of you could, and her nails are red. Some of you could be working on your security. Not surprisingly, that's the second house, right? You could be working on your sense of material security. And that could mean that a part of you that felt less secure is leaving during this eclipse time or has already left. And then a new part of you, a new soul essence that is more tethered to your soul, the truth of who you are, is coming in to support you to think big and dream a more expansive dream. Beautiful, Aquarius. So if you resonate with what I shared, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, you will experience this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 9th house. Your 9th house of expansion. I love the 9th house. I love the 9th house because it is the house where we do evolve more on a soul level. It's the house of higher learning. So this is a full moon lunar eclipse, which means it's closing out a chapter. There's an ending for some of you. There's a graduation moment for some of you. Some of you could be graduating from a learning program. Some of you could be stepping into one. It's both an ending and new beginning for some people. It just depends on your own chart and how this eclipse is being aspected as well. A lot of people are experiencing a culmination because we have Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, bringing us all on a certain level to a culmination of Pisces energy. And of course, Pisces is across from the Virgo moon, the sun in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. You could be realizing that a belief that you had is no longer current for you. Same with any kind of philosophy. Same with a religion. Something you could be leaving in that way. You could be letting go of a spiritual practice. You could be starting a new spiritual practice. This is the house that is wanting us to expand in our mindset, but also it's long distance travel, new adventures, new horizons. So, and this is foreign lands in the sense that you're traveling someplace, some of you, or you're thinking of moving to a foreign country, some of you. This eclipse is happening on the 3rd and 9th house axis, which is your mindset, communication, your daily errands and activities, and also your devices, your car or cars, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, landlords, people in your local environment. So on this axis, this is the axis of learning and growth, writing, websites, putting our message out into the world. Ninth house is also teaching and publishing. Some of you could be publishing something. Some of you could be letting go of a dream or a plan to teach or publish or, you know, present something. Or you could be starting a plan to do that. Saturn rules planning too, and Saturn is opposing this eclipse. There may be an adjustment for a lot of you in your mindset that you're being invited to make. We're being called to give ourselves a fresh, clean slate with this eclipse. We're releasing the whole era of Neptune and Pisces. That was a different era. Neptune and Aries is more of us being true to our own hearts. Neptune and Pisces was more of us wanting to be good, so to speak, wanting to be the good, loyal soldier. That's metaphorical, of course, but you know, Pisces in its highest octave is our connection to our own divine guidance, being true to ourselves. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, Capricorn. And you're getting a trine from this Virgo moon to your energy. A trine from the moon, a sextile from the sun. You are well supported by this eclipse. It's quite harmonious to you. So you could experience some sort of, you know, blessing, ninth house blessings, some sort of blessing, some sort of epiphany, something that you want to share with others. It's the house of this axis is where we share often our ideas, our insights with other people through writing, through websites, through social media, and so on. Capricorn. And speaking of insights and epiphanies, revelation. Listen to your life. The right path will reveal itself. When I see this card, I see someone who is giving themselves a trip to some place that is, if not exotic, it is quite beautiful. It is near the water, obviously, in this card. And this card is speaking to us on different levels, right? The ocean is parting, or the water is parting to show her the path. But also, when I see this card, I see a desire, or at least a permission slip, to take yourself out of your normal routine, the ninth house. Put yourself in scenery that allows you to receive a revelation, that allows you to dream, that allows you to receive. Beautiful Capricorn, if anything that I shared resonates for you, let me know in the comments below. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius. Beautiful Sag. It's so fun to hear so many of you say that you sing along with me now. I love that so much. That is like-minded community, right? That is those of us who know that singing puts us in a higher vibration of joy and allows us to share that energy with the world. Okay, Sag, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in your 10th house of career, legacy. This is, if you don't have a career, if you're retired or semi-retired, this is how you spend your time, how you want to spend your time. It's a vocational house. It is where we want to feel meaning and passion and fulfillment from how we're spending our time. Some of you, it is career. With an eclipse in the 10th house, something can be eclipsed out. A career could end, a new career could begin, a job could end. You could realize that the way you've been using your energy, Sagittarius, or habits that you've had at work have been draining to you, or have some of you, this is a small portion of you, very small, but some of you could feel like your health has been affected by how you have done your work. Virgo is about the how. Virgo says we have to change the how we're approaching life, our habits, our routines, our thinking. If it's not healthy, if everything that you're doing, if you're already purified, because Virgo eclipses help us purify, if you're already fully purified, Sag, detoxed, then maybe this eclipse is about a brand new beginning, something new starting for you, a new chapter. You could also experience this in your fourth house of home, family, childhood conditioning, your security, because it's on the axis of the fourth and the 10th. So what I've noticed with eclipses is we can feel them in either house of the axis that they're happening on. And you could be simply moving or redecorating or remodeling, or some of you might be moving for work. This eclipse squares you, which means that it brings tension and or pressure, but it's motivating. It's something you have to take action with a square. You have to. It's just, that's the great thing about a square. If you look at your chart and you see, usually charts, like if you get a chart off of astro.com, it will give you a little graph and it will show all the conversations that happen between your planets and points in your natal chart, and it will show the squares. It will show the harmonious aspects between your planets and points and the more challenging ones. A square is more challenging, but a lot of people have a lot of squares in their chart, or other difficult oppositions, what can be difficult aspects. And that's how they achieve their life purpose. That's how they grow. That's how we grow. We grow through square energy. Sag, let me pull a card for you. I've been shuffling for you. Let's see what the cards have to say. A lot of you are feeling a big shift, no doubt, because you're one of the mutable signs, and the mutable signs are really feeling this eclipse. You're feeling a big shift, no doubt. And as I said that, it just, the whole roof of this Airbnb just creaked. That's what you're hearing, the creak. Feeling a big shift in career and or home. And that is your soul calling you to a new timeline. Interesting card. It says if you're feeling resistance, honor it. Wait. Sometimes no action is the best action of all. And I just talked about how squares require us to take action, but you know what? Venus is retrograde during this eclipse, and Mercury is about to turn retrograde. So for some of you, waiting is the best answer, is the best approach. If the resistance is there, work on, well, I don't even want to say work on, let the resistance go if you can, to the best of your ability. Breathe through it, tap through it. Be near water, get out in nature, write through it, journal through it. Only take action when you're back in the flow. Beautiful Sag. That's the advice of this card. If you resonate with anything I shared, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you are going to experience the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of fulfillment. It's a dream. It's your hopes, a hope, wish, or dream. It is causes, the humanitarian in you wanting to take some sort of action around something that's important to you. If you have a social media platform, if you brand or market or promote something, a business or an activity or a project or whatever you're sharing with the world, that falls here as well. It's also your audience, your following, your tribe, your allies, your friendships, long-term financial gains. It's a house where we can experience a lot of fulfillment. That word fulfillment, I've said it multiple times, I know that, but it can really be that for us. Now, this is an ending, culmination, releasing, letting go kind of eclipse for a lot of people, not everyone. Some of us have already done that releasing, ending, and we're now stepping into the new reality already. But we are in transition, as I explained in the first part of this video. You are getting a sextile from this energy to you, and the sextile is a solution or a new opportunity. It's harmonious. It wants to give you something that feels like a blessing, something that could feel like a fresh breeze, something that could feel like an answer to a prayer. Scorpio, you're experiencing this eclipse on an axis. It's not just your 11th house, it's the axis of the 5th and the 11th house. In your 5th house, we have the sun in Pisces, we have Saturn, we have Neptune, we have all this Pisces energy that wants to support you in terms of your inner child delight. It's your creativity and your full unbridled expression and love and romance. It's like I love to say, it's all the yummy things in life. That's the 5th house. It's also fun and pleasure. So, but Saturn's there. And Saturn is like, we have to do the work of this house, right? So for some people, when they have Saturn moving through their fifth house, they have to set boundaries with the lover. With other people, Saturn in the fifth house is I'm working on my parenting, or uh, I am working on a creative project. I am like writing every day if I want to write a book. I'm doing something day in and day out that's supporting my hope, wish, or dream. So that could be something that you relate to as well. But overall, an 11th house full moon lunar eclipse is saying, like, for some of you, this would have to do with friendships. It could be a friendship that's ending. We do outgrow some of our friendships, or we take breaks from our friendships sometimes, or other relationships when we're not in full vibrational alignment, right? So you get the idea, Scorpio. Some of you probably want to travel. That's the world. This is the world card in the tarot. This is the world is your oyster. So some of you could really be like ready to go, just ready to go, ready to start a YouTube channel, ready to travel, ready to do a travel YouTube channel. I mean, I don't need to just focus on YouTube. It can be any platform, of course. The whole point, though, is your expression, creative, in love, with children, with friends, or a humanitarian cause. So let us see, Scorpio, what the cards have to say. Again, this is an ending or culmination for a lot of people, but it's also a new beginning for others. A manifestation for some of you. Your card is faith. Have faith. Have faith. Faith grows when you act without knowing the end result. So this card is encouraging you to take some sort of action, but you can see in this card, if you have felt down, Scorpio, if you have felt like wanting to, like the petals on your rose are falling and time is short and you don't have the answers, or you're just, a lot of people are in a grief process right now. They are, because we have Neptune at the very last degree. A grief process can be a part of us that is dying, right? What we call an ego death. You could be experiencing that. Or maybe something happened with someone close to you, a lover, a romantic partner, someone you were dating, that maybe you had to say goodbye, or they said goodbye to you. Have faith, Scorpio. This is, it's only darkest before the dawn. Have you experienced that before? I've experienced that so much, so many times. A rebirth is coming to you. And Scorpio, do you know this about your own energy? I talk about this in my Scorpio superpower video. If you haven't watched that, you might like it. A lot of Scorpios have liked it. You guys have the power to regenerate. That's Scorpio energy. You're co-ruled by Pluto, and Pluto regenerates. So anything that's ending, dying, releasing, that's kind of your gig. Scorpio, you're good at that, releasing that. You're good at letting things go away and die and all of that. But anything that, if you're in that process, your faith is growing. And this is clearly saying take some sort of action, even if you don't know where it's going. So Scorpio, if what I shared resonates and you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear your comments. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, you are going to experience this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 12th house of rest, retreat, the mystic. This is the house of spiritual awakening. It's the house where we sometimes convalesce if we're healing from something. It is sometimes where we do deep, deep reflection, guided meditations, other kinds of experiences that remind us of the ethereal nature of our being. I feel that with an eclipse here in the 12th house, a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo across from Pisces energy, which is Pisces energy in the traditional zodiac is 12th house energy. I feel that a lot of you are definitely shedding a skin around this time. You are definitely wanting to, or the eclipse is sort of putting you in the position of discovering a new soul essence, a new part of you, waking up to your dharma, some of you, waking up to your beautiful, our quote unquote darkness. A lot of times we associate the 12th house with darkness, but our darkness can be our greatest light that we have put on a shelf, that we have put in a corner. It can be a part of us that we've been too afraid to let be seen. That could be darkness that we then shine the light and bring into the light. So that could be happening for you too. It's an invitation. It's an invitation. And often if we don't take the invitation that, we get those little soul nudges, right? Those whispers from the divine that happen. And if we don't say yes to any of them, then what often happens, we get like the big, like we sprain our ankle, or not to say this is going to happen to any of you, not at all, not at all, not at all. I don't want to plant that seed, but for those of you who do experience something, like the ending of something, this eclipse is happening on your 6th and 12th house axis, and the 6th house is our physical body. It is daily work, our work environment, our interactions with coworkers and bosses. So some of you could be let go from a job. I have to be honest and say that. Or you could leave a job. You could have a last straw moment. Eclipses bring wild card energy. Sometimes they just bring us to the brink of, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Some of you will feel that. I have never ever worked with a coaching client who got let go from a job who wasn't happy. I know that's a bunch of negatives, but like who wasn't happy with the result once they grieved, or just, we all, on an ego level, we all have to lick our wounds when someone else gives us the boot, right? There's always something there that like we wish we would have been the one, on a human level. But if that happens, there's always a part of us that knows that it was the right thing for us, right, Libra? Some of you could also be changing or releasing a habit around food or exercise, eating or exercise. Endings, culminations, graduation moments, manifestations. These are all possible during this eclipse. Let me see what the cards want me to share with you. Libra. You get priorities. It is time to prioritize. Get your priorities straight. What you know, when you know what's important, saying no gets much easier. Ooh, the light just went really funky there. Okay, we're back, I think, sort of back. That's really weird. Okay, maybe the divine is talking to us. Now the sun's in my face, but I think it's a little better. Okay, so Libra. As I shared in part 1 of this video, a lot of us are getting a wake-up call to straighten our priorities, to redo our priorities for our health, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. And that can be really hard and take a lot of courage to do that. But I feel that some of you will understand this and will relate to this. Some of you are being guided in this direction. You know what's most important now. You know what you have to attend to. Beautiful Libra, attend to that, and everything will begin to fall more in alignment with your soul, your joy, what matters most to you, your true fulfillment. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for being here for this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo video. I am so happy that I get to share this information, insights, and more with you. It really lights me up. If you liked this video, please take a moment to give it a like, give it a thumbs up, comment, leave your comments. I absolutely love your comments. I read all of them, and I love seeing you support one another as well. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed. Your subscribes make a huge difference to the support of the channel. They allow me to do these videos for you. So thank you for subscribing. If you would like to do a private astrology consultation with me, I would absolutely love to meet you on Zoom. Go to my website, check out the testimonials that other clients have shared after working with me. There are lots of choices. We can do a heart's desire. We can do a life purpose reading. We can do a natal chart, a relationship harmony reading, whatever you need in this moment. It will be my joy to support you. I also offer clarity coaching sessions. All of the information is on my astrology and coaching pages on my website, and the links are in the description box below. As promised, I have a free gift for you. That free gift is a soothing guided meditation. It will reconnect you with your unconditionally loving soul. It will help to connect you with your divine guidance. If you would like to receive that, go to my website, subscribe to my weekly inspirational astrology updates for free, and you will get that free instant download gift right away. Thank you to my Sunday chat friends for joining me. I always enjoy hanging out with you. I so appreciate your presence, and I appreciate your presence whenever you are watching this video. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you are feeling around this full moon and lunar eclipse energy in Virgo. And until my next video, my beautiful friend, I'm sending you all my love.